Hello, am I live? Is it 8 o'clock? Is it a Tuesday? Am I actually here in person this time and you're not just seeing my fingers and my hands working away on my workbench? I thought it's been a while actually. I think the last two or three Brew and Blethers I've done have been demonstrations. So, to honour my newly restored laptop. It's only about 4 years old, for goodness sake. It shouldn't really have been giving up the ghost by now. But anyway, to honour my now restored laptop, which has a brand new SSD drive, don't know what that is, but it's apparently very good and very fast. And everything has been put back on. I've spent the day sort of putting in all my passwords again. I mean, it's amazing because, you know, I'm one of these people that I do have a lot of tabs open in my browser because I'm like, instead of bookmarking it, I will bookmark it, but I'll also keep it open at the same time. Hands up, who else does that? It's just, you know, it's like, oh, that's interesting. I'll keep it open so I can watch it later. And do I ever, you know, and then it just stays open forevermore. It never closes. And so I had probably about 40 or 50 tabs open, not the, you know, the sort of the infamous sort of 2,352 ones that creative people are meant to have, but enough that it made it all a bit kind of clunky and slow, and now it's much faster, and I'm going to be very good. I'm going to do my very best and keep a tab on my tabs and make sure that they don't get too excessively numerous, shall we say. So anyway, yeah, so I am in honour, in celebration, she says, whiffling round to the end of this wonderful new laptop, which now has a lease of life. I am actually doing this Brew and Blether on my phone. Of course, what else? But I thought it was about time that I just had a chat with you guys, you know, because it's been a while. So how have you all been doing? I have to say, first of all, that it's got to be, I don't know how it got to be May. Like, it's the 3rd of May. Like, how? This is nearly halfway through the year. I really don't understand where it's all gone. I don't have a clue. Anyway, so if anybody has any ideas, if you put out search party looking for the first half of the year, let me know, because I really want to know where it's gone. It's scary actually how fast this year is going. But saying that, you know, I still have had lovely full days and I've done an awful lot, but it's just still, you know, so I don't feel like I've just been sleeping my life away. Chance would be a fine thing. I don't feel that at all, but I certainly do feel that it's just been all quite, it's just, you know, I just feel like I've been dropped into the, you know, like plopped into the middle of, you know, at the nearly halfway through the year, and I'm like, I don't know how I got here. Anyway, so that's just me. Might just be me. Feel free to chime in because I get to actually read your comments and have a proper chat instead of me going, oh, I can't read, I'm concentrating, I don't know what. Anyway, so it's lovely. Now, my phone tells me that there are 6 people. There's 6 of us watching. Yay, and that's 7 including me. So I think we've got Tabitha here as well, and Pamela and Carol as well. So, and Lorna here as well. Hello, Lorna. And yes, 9:20 a.m. to 1 p.m. felt like 9 minutes. Yes, it's not just the months and the weeks. It's the days and the minutes and the seconds that are just whizzing. It's quite remarkable. Anyway, must always enjoy every day as much as possible. That's the most important thing. Make the most of each moment because, as we know, those moments just whiz by, and then before we know it, we're nearly in the halfway through the year. So, Tabitha, hello, welcome to the call as well. Yes, yeah, time is going too fast. So what's the answer then? How do we slow down time? Any answers? I mean, I think my own answer to that, I suppose, is it is just to make the most of whatever it is that I'm doing it as mindfully as possible. Like yesterday, oh, hello, Nicole, it's lovely to see you from Dumfries. I just about drove past the end of your road when I came back from my dad's house the last time. Came down the A76 via Dumfries and then onto the M74. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, so mindfulness is very, very important, I think. But yesterday, so I was supposed to go out for a walk with Enrique and his daughter. and her boyfriend. And I was just a bit tired because I've had a busy weekend, you know, no laptop, which was rather nice, I must say. But I'd been out at a workshop all day on Saturday. I had been singing first thing on Sunday morning and then been playing again on Sunday night. And it was lovely. It was wonderful. But like Monday, I was kind of like, do you know what? I kind of fancy just a vegging sort of day. So I sort of cup of tea, lots of cups of tea, and my Kindle and a blanket, and just enjoyed, just chilled out on the sofa. It was really, really lovely. But just with that, you know, like 4 hours disappears in a flash. Whereas when I'm working or when I'm singing or when I'm playing, because I'm so engaged with what's going on, although the time does go by, I do feel as though it has gone by fruitfully. It has gone by meaningfully. Do you know what I mean? Whereas yesterday, it just, I mean, granted, it wasn't all on the Kindle. A lot of it was scrolling and on the phone. And this is one of my mid-year resolutions, I suppose, is to spend less time on the phone, because it's so easy to get sucked into the trap of just being, you know, glued to the screen. And, you know, it's just the people behind all these social media platforms, they know how we work. We know that we just want to see, oh, there might be something just out of reach that we haven't seen yet. I might just, and then you get stuck. We're in a lobster pot with social media. So I'm going to do my best, she says, on social media, being totally ironic about it. But I really do want to do my best just to maybe ring fence the time that I spend on Facebook, so it's not just mindless scrolling. I mean, sometimes, yes, chewing gum for the brain, but you could do that with reading a book or just meditating or having a cup of tea or having a conversation, picking up the phone to somebody, actually picking up the phone to speak to somebody. So yes, I think it's, for me, it's all about doing things mindfully and just being aware and just not, you know who's driving the bus at any given time, because yesterday I was not driving the bus. Facebook was driving the bus, and as was, there's a game which I play sometimes, I can Bejeweled Classic, where you've got to kind of match up 3 different types of jewels in a, I mean, it's mindless. It is absolute chewing gum for the eyes, and you can lose hours and hours and hours with it. But anyway, so here I am. It's like a confession. I didn't intend to come on as a confession, but here I am. So actually, this is a good hold me to account. Actually, I'm going to delete that app, that game, from my phone, and I'm going to. I think there's some apps you can do which can. Which limit how long you're online. So yes, I must do that. Yes, Pamela, time is going too quickly. And Nicole, you try and send letters and cards to people. Now that's a really good idea, actually. I love writing letters to people. And it's very personal, and it takes you out of yourself, and you're focusing on somebody else, and you're doing something nice because you know they're going to love it. Who doesn't love getting letters? And we don't get letters enough. We don't get enough letters these days. It's one of the reasons why I write a little note in with each of the wee creatures, because I love getting them. You know, I love reading. I love knowing that somebody's taken the time to put pen to paper, and even if it's just a few wee words, just to say hello, and it really just makes it a bit special. So I really like doing that. So yes, that's an excellent idea. It's really, really good. And I wonder about, we used to play jigsaws quite a lot. We used to do jigsaws quite a lot, but that's kind of just like the analog version of the Bejeweled Classic video game. So I don't know. I need to worry it. I need to work it out anyway. And Lauren, I'm glad that you like them too. It's just, I kind of figured, you know, when I first started queerness, the only driving factor for me was, well, what do I like to do? What do I like to receive? You know, I wasn't thinking about, oh, if I do this, will this make them, you know, come back to me? No, it was just a question of, well, this makes me happy, so I kind of trust that it will make somebody else happy too. You know, that was kind of very selfish, really, in many ways, but all in a good way. And that's another good trick, is just to be happy yourself, and the rest kind of falls into place anyway. So Tabitha, you're saying Jake has set limits on his apps for the day. That's really good. That's actually, yeah, good, excellent, well done to Jake. And I really must take a line out of it, a leaf out of his book even. It's yeah, and Linda, you're saying as well, it's you get a 10-minute check on Facebook and go to bed at night. Well, yeah, I think really it does come down to just limiting what time we spend on the big black hole of the telephone and enjoy the personal touch that you get with letters and cards. And I know, Pam, that people don't seem to be bothered, but that's no reason not to do it, I think. I mean, yeah, sometimes you might feel as though you're writing into a black hole, but why not? You know, it just, I think sometimes that I'm a throwback to like Jane Austen times, because you know, this whole idea that, you know, the ladies would sit in their parlour and they'd be writing these long letters, and then they would parcel them up and take them to the post office, and it would take 3 days to get wherever they were going, and then there would be a week to go by, and then they would get a letter back. So there was no instant gratification with it. You just had to wait. So, but there was something so magical about then, you know, then reading this. And sometimes my letters can be a little bit, I won't say pompous as such, but that's probably as good a word as any. But I love doing that, sort of the flowery language and the description, not just I've done this today, but, you know, 'twas a florid morning and the sun was shining and the birds were, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's good fun. I enjoy it. And actually that's one of the reasons why, oh, and Pam, you've kept my letters as well. That's so lovely. Do you know? Of course, I never remember what I've said in anyone, but I always try and make them personal when I'm writing them. You know, I always try and think of, you know, make it relevant to something that we've just discussed, or so, anyway. I'm glad you like them, because I love writing them. It's good fun, and I love buying pens, and I love buying stationery too. So you're all feeding my habit very nicely. Thank you very much. I'm in quite a loquacious mood tonight. You might have noticed. This workshop that I went to on Saturday was in Didsbury. It's in the south of Manchester. I am a member of the Northwest Early Music Forum. Now, I'm not active in it as such, but this is for music of the sort of 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th centuries. And I, you know, because some of you will know, I love to sing, and I particularly love to sing 16th century polyphony, choral music. So this was a workshop on the music of Lassis, Orlando de Lassis, who's from the 16th century. And it was for instrumentalists and singers. So there was 35 of us there. It was a big number. Normally I like one voice per part. But this was like a big group. But they were like in 10-part pieces, 9-part pieces. There was one that was 15 parts, or 18 parts it might have been actually. So it was a real logistical, you know, exercise to kind of organise, bit herding cats really, just to get everybody in the right place, because some of the singers were doubling with the instrumentalists, etc., etc. So there were like recorder players and viol players, and I think there was a theorbo, and did I say recorders? I probably did. But anyway, so all kind of early music instruments, and sort of half of us were singing as well. And I volunteered to do the review for it because it was such a wonderful day. The tutor was a brilliant, brilliant chap who was so inspiring, and he really got the best out of the group. And so I've just been, and he's so flamboyant as well, very full of energy, very full of life, and you know, looked as though he'd just walked straight out of Dead Poets Society. You know, he was a real sort of Robin Williams character, but he looked like Kevin Kline, okay? And he had the energy of Johnny Ball. If you remember Johnny Ball, those of us of a certain age will remember him, but just so excited and so enthusiastic, and such wonderful metaphors, and just from a different age. And it was so lovely to be taught, to be led by somebody who's so erudite. I mean, he had so much to offer about not just the music, but also the historical context, and little snippets about how the musicians would have played this, and what's the meaning behind the words of this, and where that all sat with the chord structure. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Anyway, so I'm writing the review for it, and I've done about 1,300 words already, so I might need to cut it down a bit, but it's so much fun. This is not really about wee creatures though, is it? As always, I've kind of written a few notes about what I was going to chat about tonight, and I've covered none of them, surprisingly enough. However, I do have not a cup of tea today, but I have a cup of coffee. Now, I walked down, it's about a mile to the big Tesco near here, and I hadn't been out all day because I've been stuck on the computer trying to like upload and log back into all these, 35 website or web tabs that I've had open. I've had to log back all into them again and get things set up the way I want, all the rest of it. So 6:30 came along and I thought, no, I have to go out. I have to get some fresh air. So I went it's a beautiful day. It was just, it's still quite chill. It's still about 14 degrees or something, but not cold enough to have a coat on. And it was that beautiful time of, sort of early evening, and the birds were just singing, and I was walking over the canal, and it was so still and quiet, and it was green. It smelled so green, that beautiful spring, fresh, kind of vibrant smell of spring. It was just magical, absolutely magical. And I got a coffee. So, but it's not really proper coffee. I don't really go for like the sort of the bitter black stuff. This is a hot cross bun latte. Okay. So as long as I'll have coffee, as long as it's sort of milky and sweet, that works for me. But not much, is yeah, so I would have had tea, but I've still got half a coffee left. And the good thing about coffee is if it goes cold, it still tastes rather nice. So that's what I'm having tonight. But here we are in May, back to the beginning of this again. And yeah, it's going to be a fun month ahead. I mean, April was really all about bumblebees and ladybirds, and I've got a few requests in for people to do a few more of them from those who missed out. So I'm looking forward to doing them, but I've got so many other ideas lined up. But actually one of the things is I'm going to be out of the studio for a week, not next week, but the week after. I'm going down. Do you remember that I did a sculpting course down in Devon back in 2018, I think it was? And I did a hound. I made a hound, and this was like a big size, big dog. Spent the whole week working on it. It was a clay dog. And it was blood, sweat and tears to make this thing, because it's, normally my creatures are this size. This was big. And he all came together on the last afternoon, and it was an experience, shall we say. It was an amazing experience. And I've signed up again to do the animal portrait course. And so it's been cancelled a couple of times, what with everything going on over the last 2 years. So finally it's going ahead, and it's happening in 2 weeks' time. And I'm like, but it was 6 months still to go, and I've got so much to do before I'm going down to this. So I'm going to be in the Devon area of England for the next, in a couple of weeks' time. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to catch up with anybody. There might be a few who are close by or in the area that I can sort of like either pop my head around the door, have a cup of tea or something. So if you're in or around Devon, let me know, give me a line, drop me a line and let me know. Otherwise, I will be giving reports about how I'm getting on, probably with lots of photographs, and I'll talk through what's happening and what progress I'm making. I'll try and keep the tears to a minimum, because I was so far out of my comfort zone, but it was magical, because actually working with real clay, I've tried that. I have watched the pottery throwdown a few times, Nicole, and it's amazing. It's just wonderful. And thank you, Nicole, for for the ideas. It's the creatures. They just whisper in my ear. I can't get rid of them. Not that I would want to. It's okay. Yeah, so the great pottery throw is fascinating. I have tried throwing pots a few times, and I love working with clay, but it's so messy, and I can't go between real clay, and polymer clay, because polymer clay, you need to be absolutely sterile. You need to be as clean as possible, because it's a dust magnet basically. And if you've got dusty clay, dirty hands from working with proper clay, no, I have to sort of leave a whole day between potting and between polymer claying, sadly, because there's something quite, it's so easy to work with compared to polymer clay. Polymer clay, you've got to kind of tease it and stroke it, and it's not easy to work with, really. Whereas clay, you just smash it around, smoosh it and wish it, and it's done, and it's there, and it's wow. It's really malleable. It's so easy to get your hands in the clay and just to mix it up. It's fantastic. So I quite like this idea of doing like a full week of it. And I just need to kind of get out of my own head and not be thinking that it's got to be instant and I've got to have it all perfect and all these other things that our gremlin brains tend to sort of keep us blethering on it and keep us, it's a perfectionist sort of gremlin that will go out and say, oh, that's not good enough, and oh, you can't show that. Right, so I have to just be aware of that, let it go and have fun and just enjoy it. So I'm looking forward very much to that. Whilst I'm away, I will probably run the auction for the May Squeak Show framed scene, which is the birthday party. And I have posted a picture like at the end of the year, or the end of last year, I should say. But I will post more pictures of it tomorrow because it's my favourite one because it's my birthday month. This is my birthday month. I'm going to be 25 with 26 years experience on, I think it's a week. What date is today? The 3rd. It's a week today. Gosh, right, so it's my birthday on the 10th. Yes, I shall be 51, allegedly. I am not a day over 25 in my head, haven't been for many years now. Quite happy to stick there, thank you very much. So that's actually another reason why the Brew and the Blether has been brought forward a week, because I've been doing them sort of every 3 weeks for the last 4 or 5 months or so. But doing them I brought it forward a week because next week, apparently, I was told, make sure you are available on Tuesday evening. So I am making sure I'm available on Tuesday evening. Can't imagine why. We shall see. So that's going to be fun. So that's why I'm doing this today. And I thought it was a good chance just to kind of blether at you and see how you're doing. Oh, Nicole, so you're 51 as well. It is the best age. Do you know, I think those of us who were born in the early 70s, yeah, the 80s really were, anyway, it's just brilliant. How many more people have we got in May? Christy, you are as well. Excellent. Now, are you an early May? Are you a Taurus or are you a Gemini? Not that I hold an awful lot of store by that, but I have to say I have quite a lot of Taurian tendencies, maybe stubbornness and attention to detail and all those kind of good things. And Linda, you're right, age is indeed only a number. You're only as old as the man you feel. As you're only as old as you feel. You're right. I remember I was a bit of a pretentious teenager, I must confess. And I remember telling my gran, this is when I was about 15 or something, like total, this was, I was very pretentious. And I told my gran, age is an immaterial concept. And although it's actually true, it was probably like not the sort of thing to say to my gran at the time. But anyway, it is. And we've got Carmen as well. Her birthday's on the 5th. Ange as well, you're 1971 as well, but your birthday's in November, but 1971 still, that's pretty good, I have to say. But do you know, just to think that 1971 is like over 50 years ago. Again, we're back to the theme of tonight, which is kind of time. And time is, there is no time, there is only now. The passing of time is technically an illusion. It's a bit of a mind job, but yeah, like how did the 70s become 50 years ago? That's just, if I think of a decade ago, I'm thinking that was the 90s. That's kind of where my head is still at as well. So Christy, you're a Gemini as well. 73, reverse that, whatever. You're only as old as you care to think as you think you are. And I think as well, because I've never had children until I met Enrique, and then I inherited 2 grown-up children. I've not aged. I haven't aged with the growing of children, so I'm still 25, as I say. I'm possibly younger, in fact, because yeah, why not? Doesn't really matter. You are only as old as you think you are. That's absolutely true. So, and Nicole is at, December 1970. You've got the edge on us as well. Oh, this is good. Yes, and age doesn't matter except when you are a bottle of wine. Very true, Nicole. Very true. This is, isn't that an odd thing? I mean, I've seen people who are like, oh, I don't want to get old. I don't want to hit my 50s. It's like, just enjoy it. Just embrace it. Have fun, whatever's happening, because there is only this moment, there is only now, and age is just a label, it's just a shorthand, it's just like your name, but it's not you, it doesn't define you unless you let it define you. That's the only thing, that's a choice. So I choose for it not to define me. Other than I will be celebrating my birthmas. I've heard it called a birthmas, like Christmas, but birthmas. That makes me giggle, I have to say. So it's going to be my birthmas next Tuesday. So I won't be on a Brew and Blether call then, but you're getting me now. You're getting me a week early. Woohoo! I've got one lined up for 3 weeks for today as well. So and that'll probably be back to being a demonstration. So what else did I actually have that I haven't talked about? Oh, wait a minute. Let me just catch up. So Barbara, child of the 60s. Yeah, you see, peace, love and rock and roll. Love it. See, but I'm only just a couple of years behind you. I mean, it's just, and so what? I mean, it really, it's just wonderful. And Tabitha, I always look at it that I'm lucky to be turning 40. Yes, you are. We're lucky to be in this moment now, whatever that moment is, wherever we are deemed on the chronological scale. We are lucky to be in this moment. And that's the best way to look at it for me. And actually, that's the best way to keep young and to make the most of each moment. Because if you're grateful for what is, everything is a gift. What is it they say? What's the saying? The past is gone, the future isn't here yet, and today's a present or a gift. The present moment is a gift. I think that's it. I'm not very good at remembering all these quotes, but that is very, very true. Gosh, Pam, yes, I didn't want to turn 50, but now I've turned 70, and aren't you glad of it? I mean, I think it only becomes an issue when we're talking about it, so maybe we should change the subject, actually, because it's just, wherever you are, but wherever any of us are, we are at the perfect age, because we are at that age now. And we're in the perfect moment, and we're doing the perfect thing, and it's just an easier way of looking at life, I think. It really is. It's just make the most of everything. And the wee creatures have taught me that big time, and I'm so grateful to them for that. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I know, very, very lucky indeed. So yeah, so I've told you about the sculpting course, Shimaway, and I've told you about the May auction, the birthday party, the street party. That's wonderful. Now, the other thing is, the idea is, do you remember I showed you a couple of weeks ago, I think, or one of the last Brew and Blethers, the gorgeous little trees that Rachel Pettit had made for me, and I still haven't had a chance to mount to creature them. Let me just bring one over. Here we go. So these ones, you probably can't see the colours very well on it, but they're beautiful pastel colours. And all I can hear with them, my plans for these, right? The plans for these. Oh, yes. Every morning we wake up is a gift. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. This is spot on, Linda. Absolutely. We need to make the most of every moment. And that means go out and hug people. Go say hello, pay a compliment. Just smile at somebody, say hello, just sing, just dance, just be today, for tomorrow we may be hit by a bus. So anyway, back to the trees. So I should be doing them now, actually. So I had thought about them for Easter, but Easter, of course, is just like so not, it's like so next year. But I have been hearing in my head, ever since I've seen these, the sound for the teddy bear's picnic, okay? The tune for the, if you go down to the woods today, etc., etc., etc. And so I have to do teddy bear picnics for these. So that's my plan. I'm going to do the teddy bear's picnic. So I will do, these ones will have like one little bear, because when I did I did a couple of beavers recently, and the beaver that I made with chops, who, he just reminded me of a bear, like a brown bear. And I've made a couple of bears, not polar bears, I've made a couple of brown bears in the past, and teddy bears as well, but not as a sort of a regular, get them into the canon of queerness. But I think the time for bears is definitely coming. So, and not just, so single bear with a little picnic hamper or something, or maybe just a little picnic, like a checkered picnic blanket or something, but bear, apple, whatever. But also, I have 3 of these larger ones, and of course that's going to have to be a number of bears having a proper picnic. And I'm hearing it now, and it's so funny because the day that I got this idea for them, I went out for a walk, and the ice cream van that was going around was playing the teddy bear's picnic. So I was like, right, I'm definitely on the right line, definitely on the right track for sure. So that will happen. Can't say when exactly, but it's definitely there, and they're just waiting to get out, and they're getting impatient, but I've got quite a lot to do before I head off. So I'll do my very best to get them done before I go away. If I can get the set, like the full one, that may be a good auction idea, because I'm really enjoying using the eBid site. This is the alternative to eBay. And I think it seems to be working well for anybody who has taken part in the auctions, but let me know. Would appreciate feedback. That would be great. But I might try and get an auction running whilst I'm away, and that'll sort of, it'll just trundle away when I'm not there. Oh, Nicole, what are you saying? Have you ever thought of making swifts, as we have just had a returning pair return back yesterday, nesting in our whole house? That's lovely. Do you know, I have made a few birds, and they are lots of fun to make. They're really nice, and that was another idea that hasn't quite come along. And I saw your panda thing, and yes, pandas as well. Have made pandas before, and I want to make more pandas. Anyway, so yes, birds, yes, because they've got such a beautiful shape. I mean, they're just so, well, they're aerodynamic, of course, and that's beautiful to make. So I must, I'll share with you the birds that I've made before, because I've done a couple of goldfinches and blue tits and things like that. Now, it would be lovely to make them on the wing. And of course, I've been making flying creatures, so I could actually make them so that they can be, flying, balanced like nicely. So many ideas. And yes, Linda, I have done a tortoise. It's not been sort of a regular thing, but I have made tortoises. And there's more, it's just the idea. There's just lots of ideas for them to do. So I want to do more tortoises, and I still want to do more of the aquatic animals, the sea animals, sea mammals, and fish and sharks and narwhal. Really want to do a narwhal too. And they're going to go on the little cotton reels and sort of be swimming through the sea. And I wanted to make more flying creatures as well. But the other thing which I found as well as these beautiful little trees, Rachel Pettit, her work is lovely. You need to go and have a look at Rachel's work if you haven't come across it yet. And I'm sure you have, because I've been working with her now for going on a couple of years, or at least 18 months. And I've got some more of the Christmas trees for the winter trees. And we're still talking about doing this set of 4 seasons trees. There's so many. So I came across these from a good friend of mine. She collected them, and look at these. Are you ready? How cute is that? So it's a tiny little, like a proper china teacup, just a little collectible thing. I've never seen one this small that isn't actually a doll's house one, because it's much bigger than a doll's house teacup. But it's got beautiful patterns on the side. I have 6 of these, and they all have different patterns. So of course, we'll just have to see what kind of wee creature wants to go and live in a little teacup. So that's on the cards as well. Lorna, you're asking, have I ever done a stork? I don't think I have, actually. I've made a pelican. Does that help? A purple pelican? But no, I haven't done a stork. And yes, I must do, actually, because again, the pelicans, long-legged birds, they're really good, because as long as you can get the wire for their feet, it's good if you can embed them in a thing of clay as well, like a base of clay. That works well anyway, but it does make them quite fragile for doing them. So. And as you're asking about all these creatures, they're playing in my head. I mean, I can just see them, and they're kind of like, oh, but do me now. And so I'm kind of looking at my list of things to do and to get ready before I go off, and in a couple of weeks' time. Oh, and I don't know, what's the time? Oh, it's 25 to 9 as well, so we're 5 minutes over. As I've once again managed to talk myself out. And have I said very much? I've done my best to cover what I think I had to cover anyway. But I'd just like to say, so I'll wrap things up now. Because last one, when I was making the little Easter kiwi, that went on for an hour, basically. That was a long time. So I'll make up for it now, and I'll quit while I'm ahead. But it's been wonderful, as always, just to blether at you and to read your comments and to have a proper chat and a conversation. So thank you so much for being on the call and for being part of the group and for just being lovely. So I think, let's see. Yes, I think the lesson from today, if there, I mean, you know, I don't do these things for lessons, but let's just enjoy every moment. Let us not pay any attention to numbers or days or, you know, unless we absolutely have to, you know, like for appointments and things. But let's just make the most of every day and say hello and smile like a loon at everybody that you meet, and they'll wonder what you've been up to. But you'll feel so much better. You'll feel so much better. So I'll give you my email address, Christy. When I'm off the call, I'll send you a message, and if you wish. And have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are in the world. And live every day to the max. Linda, that's a perfect way to finish it. I think that's absolutely the best advice ever. So have a wonderful evening, everybody, and I shall see you. Oh, I'm just trying to actually switch off my phone using my mouse for the computer. That's a good one. But I'm very glad my computer's working again and I'm back. So, right, have a love. I haven't made a loon, Barbara. I have made a duck, but I've not made a loon. But I can grin like one. There you go. Have a brilliant evening, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us. And just, it's always fun to hang out with you guys. It really is. So I shall speak to you again soon. All right, bye.